Shoot or don't shoot. It's a decision law enforcement officers have to make in microseconds. And in today's digital age, citizens carry their own type of gun, the camera phone in the palm of their hands.
Still taking gunfire control, except going to be assault rifle.
This was the scene nearly 1 year ago.
Right there was another round fired.
North Myrtle Beach Police Chief Philip Webster walked us through dashcam video from a police chase involving his officers and 3 men suspected of robbing a bank. That popping sound you just heard came from an assault rifle being fired at Lance Corporal Andrew McCarter.
I know as a supervisor, when I've listened to officers involved in pursuits, I listen to their voice.
He's listening for any signs of stress. Because in a moment like this, how an officer reacts is important.
Control, I've been hit. Ran off the road.
Distance is our friend. Distance is going to equal time, and that gives us the ability to possibly get behind some cover, get whatever tool we need off our belt. Another important thing right now is we want to assess. With the perception the general public has of us, we don't want to shoot or use force unless we have to.
Bruce Hancock is an instructor at the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. It's one of the first lines of training potential officers in our state go through before they're hired with an agency.
People just don't realize how quickly these situations develop.
Situations that have the potential to change so many lives.
These guys are stressed. They're stressed out. They're a lot of times very scared to do their job.
Put your hand in the small of your back.
All it takes is the blink of an eye for things to change. And it's the body functions we rely on.
Stand up for me.
That are hindered most in stressful situations.
One biggie is the eyes. We lose depth perception, the ability to focus. Night vision's altered. We normally get tunnel vision, which means we can lose up to 70% of our peripheral field.
But it doesn't stop there. An officer's hearing is affected, along with their heart rate, stress hormones, their cognitive attention, and even their memory.
We're not taking as much information we normally would be, so we miss stuff.
And those missed cues, affected by the stress of the job, can lead to someone getting hurt. That's why the training officers go through is so important.
No officer gets up in the morning and says, you know what, I think I'm going to go out today and kill somebody. We don't do that. And again, if something were to happen where we do find that we have a bad apple, we're going to take care of it. You know, we're going to clean it up because it makes all of us look bad.
Hancock trained a young Michael Slager when he came through the academy before making it to the North Charleston Police Department. And while Hancock wouldn't comment on Slager shooting and killing Walter Scott, he did say this.
We are just humans, and as humans, we're going to make mistakes, unfortunately. And again, the key here is we've got to be accountable.
What makes Slager's case so notable, though, is that a short portion of that incident, including Slager firing his weapon, was caught on cell phone video by someone on the street. In this digital age we live in, it's easier than ever before to not only access videos like this, but share your opinions about them. Plus, at the state level, lawmakers are working to protect your right to record interactions with law enforcement officers. A bill in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee would hold an officer accountable if he or she restricts someone from recording them on the job within certain constraints. It's just another example of how technology has changed the world we live in so much.
Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him.
We're seeing things from angles that were never available before.
Don't shoot him.
Even officer-involved shootings.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
And that's helping to hold authorities accountable for some of their actions.
You know, a lot of those cases, the tape doesn't look good. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It just doesn't look good. And as we've seen in some of these incidences, there was a whole lot more that happened prior to the video starting. That's why we have an investigation, to get all the pieces together. And we've seen it go the other way too, where some things played out in the beginning and say, yeah, the officer was wrong. And you know, if the officer was wrong, then they have to face the penalties just like anyone else would.
But on the other end of this debate, Authorities say video recordings can add to their stress levels because the general public can make assumptions about an officer's actions based on just a short clip showing only one perspective from an interaction.
A lot of people do not understand how the legal system works, and that, you know, if an officer does fire his weapon and says kill someone, and he becomes sort of that suspect, that he has the same rights as anyone else.
For our case in North Myrtle Beach, it was only the dashboard camera in McCarter's vehicle that captured his experience.
Control, I've been hit. Ran off the road.
Showed how he stayed calm in the face of real danger.
He had to get his wits back about him and get back in the game, so to speak.
I lost visual. It should be Long Bay by now.
And he had to notify another officer up ahead that the suspects were heading his way.
Coming at me, and he got spun out.
Despite the chase through North Myrtle Beach, a 6-hour manhunt, and 17 shots fired their way, these officers never pulled the triggers on their own guns.
Obviously, in hindsight, this situation, everybody came out okay.
We did try to talk to Lance Corporal McCarter and Lieutenant Thomas Dennis personally, but they never responded to our request. But Chief Webster was more than happy to brag on his officers' responses that day. And he hopes other officers watch those dash cam videos and take notes on how McCarter and Dennis relied on their training and remained calm in the face of danger. Now, we've also talked so much about officers relying on their training in these kinds of stressful situations, so we wanted to see for ourselves what they learn at the Criminal Justice Academy. Make sure you tune in at 11 tomorrow night for an inside look at the simulations potential officers go through before they're hired. In our Wmbf News investigation last night at 11, we looked at how this digital age we live in is affecting modern-day policing and the stress that it can add to the job. But tonight, I'm going to show you the use of force training that law enforcement officers go through at the Criminal Justice Academy. Instructors even threw me into the middle of it. Take a look.
This is a vehicle stop right here.
For an officer on the scene of a situation that is quickly escalating into something more dangerous.
Sir, can you get out of your vehicle?
You have to be able to think fast and smart.
Put your hands up, sir, but stay right there.
And rely on your training.
Your hands up, stay.
The instructors at the Criminal Justice Academy put me to the test.
This is a very basic scenario. It's very straightforward, okay? He pulled a gun out, he pointed at you, and he started shooting, and you took action.
We then broke down how I reacted, looking at where each shot from the gun went.
Where'd that first one go?
Nowhere near him.
Up over the truck. Now that round ended up somewhere. So got to impress upon the students that you have to be responsible for every single round that you fire. Where did that one go? Heck, I don't know. It could have ended up in a house or another car or someplace certainly we didn't want it to. You know, a real shoot situation is a lot more stressful than that.
This may be just a video and a computer simulating the people's actions.
Sir, drop that knife. Drop the knife for me right there, please, sir.
But it's forcing potential officers to figure out what they would do if this scenario were to play out in real life.
You'll insert that just like a regular gun, cycle that slide, and the weapon fires.
While a gun is available, it's not the only tool instructors hope their students reach for.
All right, well, what if the situation dictates something other than you just showing up? Then what's the best use of force? This. That's what we talk about in here. Can you talk someone into doing something that maybe they don't want to do?
Sir, stop!
Instructors encourage officers in this training exercise to talk to the screen, to try to de-escalate whatever situation is unfolding. They're hoping officers will learn to rely on their words as well as their weapons if needed.
Keep your hands up. We need your hands up.
And while these scenarios try to simulate real life, they can only go so far in teaching officers how to react.
They don't want to have to shoot them. They want to end these things peacefully, and I want them to be able to do that. In this situation, most of them end up going ahead and pulling the weapon and doing that. And I think that's part of the drawback of of the video game system right here in that, well, it's just a guy on a video. But when it happens in real life, that's a whole different thing.
So what he just referenced right there, and that was probably the part that was most hard to forget in all of this, is that it was a video. It was really hard to kind of put yourself into it. But that didn't make the decision to shoot or not shoot any easier. You know, I kind of still questioned when was the right time to pull the trigger in all of this and when I should hold off.
And they make it so realistic. I gotta imagine that it was very stressful.
So stressful that by the time I was done, my hands were sweating, my heart was racing. I mean, as we were even watching the video back, I felt so nervous, like it was like a teacher grading your test kind of.
Yeah, it's intense.
But just a little taste of what this would even feel like in a real life situation.
Yeah, certainly a lot of respect to the officers that do that every day in real life.
Definitely.
Great story.
Thank you so much.
Now,